Good afternoon, everybody, and a big welcome to Google Digital Garage this afternoon. Absolutely welcome along to our session, which is going to be called Find Your Career Goals. This is an extremely interactive session that we've got for you this afternoon. So we're looking forward to getting involved and getting some interaction. There's lots of exercises, so this is going to be an important one for you to grab your pen and paper or your note-taking device of choice so that you can actually get involved and join in. Send us lots of things through on the YouTube chat. That would be absolutely fantastic as well, which I'll come to in a moment. And I'll repeat all this again for you in a second. I can see a few people saying hello in the chat already. Fantastic and good afternoon to you. Welcome along, Haladia, and to John Zander. Welcome along from the Philippines. Welcome along from Angola. Great to see you here. So as I say, welcome along to Google Digital Garage. My name is Glenn, and I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. So I'm an experienced digital skills trainer, as well as having a background in management and consultancy. So hopefully got a bit to offer with this session. I've done a lot of career development with staff members and with my teams, just to make sure that everyone's keeping as productive as they can be, and to help them kind of move into areas that perhaps suit their skills and their strengths. And that will be a big focus of the activities this afternoon to help you. If you're perhaps in one of those areas where you're thinking that you might want to change career, or if you're just looking for a new career now, to actually think about some of the skills and strengths that you have and to help you choose and hopefully find a role that is going to help you to excel, is going to help you to shine, and to help you really, really move yourself forward and feel confident and feel happy in the job that you're doing. Now, I'm not on my own this afternoon. I am joined in the chat function by the wonderful Alison. So Alison is also a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. She's a very experienced trainer herself, some great background in all of the digital areas, digital skills, and is going to be able to help you throughout this session this afternoon. She's going to ask you some questions in the chat, so please do get involved. And if you have any questions along the way, then please do ask them to Alison and also ask them of me. We do have a couple of pauses for questions throughout the session, which is going to really help us to get to know each other, help to understand perhaps some of the common concerns and things that are going on for us all, and really work together as a bit of a community. This session, as I've stressed a little bit earlier on, is really, really interactive. So please do get your typing fingers ready, get ready to get involved, and join in on the exercises. Your input is absolutely vital to make this constructive. This is a session which is slightly different. If you've ever been to any of the other Google Digital Garage sessions, this is one slightly different from most of those in that it's really just all about you. Now that's great, isn't it? It's really all about you. What you put into this session is what you're going to take away from it. I can help guide you through. I can help give you some examples, but for a change, all the interesting work and all the hard work is going to be done by you as the audience. So get to know each other, pop into the chat, as I can see a number of you are actually doing. Say hello, introduce yourself, let us know where you're from. So Georgia, you're from Italy. Welcome along to you. Great to have you here this afternoon as well. My name, as I've mentioned, for any latecomers, is Glenn, and I'm based in the north of England, as is Alison actually too. Okay, now with a little bit of housekeeping just to cover. So if you don't see the YouTube chat, then you might just not be signed into your account. So sign into your YouTube account and you should see the chat function open up either underneath or along to the side of your screen, depending on which device you're using. If you don't have a YouTube account, you can also sign up very quickly for one of those. It's minimal information. It really does help you out. You know, this session will remain live for the next 24 hours. So if you wanted to revisit, go through some of the exercises again. And actually one good tip here is do all this for yourself at the moment, but you might want to revisit this session and go through it again with a friend or a family member, because again, you might learn different things. Quite intriguing, isn't it? You might learn different things about each other and really help each other out in a mutual way. So think about repeating some of the exercises you see with a friend or a family member afterwards. You've got 24 hours to do that, as this session will remain live on the link that you came in on for that 24 hours. So get your YouTube account, and you can always come back and find it in your history, in your account history, so you can actually pick up from where you left off. Hello there to Raja from Ghana. Good afternoon to you as well. Good use of emojis I can see going on the screen this afternoon as well. So yeah, welcome along everybody. Okay, so we're now going to move into the session itself. I would just like to mention very quickly, though, that there are a lot of other Google Digital Garage sessions available at g.co/digital garage. That's probably where you booked up for this session this afternoon. So head right back over there at a later point, bookmark the page, and sign up for as many of our webinar sessions as you'd like, as many times as you like. That will potentially help you to get the perspectives of different trainers, different life views, and really help you to piece together a full picture of the content and the material that we offer. We do also have a fantastic page on the very same site for a course, The Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. Now, you're asking maybe why am I mentioning that on a Find Your Careers Goals session? When you start to think about things like CVs and cover letters and going for jobs and changing your career, one of the important things you're probably going to need to do is to market yourself effectively too. And if you get involved with the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing, it's a free 40-hour video learning course that will help you understand what you're looking to achieve, how to understand an audience, and how to really appeal to the people that you want to appeal to. So it's really invaluable. At the end of that, when you pass, you're then able to download a certificate from the Open University, or it's endorsed by the Open University, so it looks great on that CV or on your LinkedIn profile if you've got one of those. Again, LinkedIn is something we'll be talking about a bit later on as we work through this session. So let's actually get going, and let's see what we're going to cover today. So we're going to really look at why we're here. Again, great interaction in the chat is going to be required, I think, for us to understand what you're doing here, what's brought you to this session. I'd love anyone to drop the answer to that in the chat for me now. That'd be really good. Then the second part of the session, what's the session going to be like? We're going to work through our skills and strengths. We're going to make you think about yourself, identify things about you that perhaps are quite hard to identify without some prompting. And then what we're going to walk away with at the end? Well, we might walk away with more self-knowledge. We hopefully will walk away with an idea of what we want to do next, whether we're in the right job now or not, whether we'd like to change our career altogether. It's going to help us really hopefully adjust our life for the better and bring more positives to it. So that's quite exciting. So let's move into that today. Now, before we do that, there are also some career certificates that are available from Google. You do need to be based in the UK to be eligible for these at the moment. Now, if you want to improve your job ready skill set, you might well identify something this afternoon that you'd like to move into an entirely different career direction. These Google career certificates cover a lot of digital areas. So there's digital marketing in there. There's UX experience, UX design. There's data analysis. There's project management. So some really key skills in jobs that have got a lot of positions going, a lot of positions to fill at the moment. So Google are giving away some of these courses that you'd normally pay for if you were just signing up. So go and have a look to see if you're eligible at goo.gle/career search UK. Go and have a look at that. That could change your life. You never know. And again, it's really great to take advantage of potentially no cost training. All right, let's get into the session. So I'm going to ask you a question. And again, I would absolutely love you to put your answers in the chat for me. As you can see on the screen, think back to when you were most fulfilled by a job, volunteering activity, or a task. It can be any time in the past or present. So what made you feel fulfilled? What parts of doing that task or doing that job or that activity, what made you feel good? What parts of it appealed to you? How did all of that come together for you? Think back when you were most fulfilled. Think about what you were doing, what's going on around you, what's the environment like, and how much of your fulfillment in that moment, it's that thing really of walking away from a job at the end of the day and potentially thinking, I had a really good day, I can't wait to come back tomorrow. What things at work make you think like that or have made you think like that? We'd absolutely love to know, so please do pop those in. Okay, we've got a great response from John Zander Redices. Hope I pronounced that correctly for you, but thank you so much for getting involved. I came across Digital Garage from scrolling through social media. It caught my eye, especially as a college student, still struggling for choosing a career. Fine. Okay, that's brilliant. Well, hopefully we can help. It's skills and strengths and things that you enjoy to give away. A lot of the session there, we need to start to think about those and how we can link them all up together. Brilliant stuff. All right. So again, just pop some of those answers in. And when you get a second, I'll try and keep up with them. I'm a little bit ahead of you in time based on the fact this is a live stream. This is live right now. So I'll try and have a look at some of those answers as they come through. And Alison will share some of those with me as well. So think back to when you're most fulfilled by a job and why. Why was that? Okay, now this is important. And the reason that I find this session, this module really, really important is 3 out of 10 workers in the UK do not believe they have good prospects for career development. You know, that's not great considering that we spend about a third of our lives at work. We don't want to fall into this statistic. We want to be as happy as we can. We want to be as fulfilled as we can. And we want to be able to feel that we're on a path to improvement. Hopefully, a lot of the things that we do are going to help us to improve, to bring about some self-development too. Now I can see from Georgiana Shiancone, I think, hopefully that's a good pronunciation of your name, that one of the most fulfilled times you've had was when you were helping others. You were volunteering in a pediatric ward. Okay, brilliant. So you have to picture that in your mind and you have to think why. What was it about that job that made you feel good, made you feel fulfilled? Now let's have a look here. We've got Heladia Thomas. I found the Digital Garage by browsing through Pinterest, and as I'm now thinking, working towards building the skills I need to find a job and be a good engineer. Excellent stuff, brilliant stuff. So you're part of the way through this already. That's really good because you've actually found something you might be interested in doing or pursuing. That's excellent. So John Sander, working with people from organizations is what I love. It's really, really fun. Okay, working with people, working on perhaps solving problems, maybe coming up with solutions, interacting. Perhaps you're a manager, perhaps you're a leader. Good. Hold on to some of those things, some of those thoughts, and you'll start to see them fall together in some of the exercises we're going to do. We've got a comment coming from Fong Din. Good afternoon to you. My starting point is an engineering student. Can I go out of the industry with digital marketing? Of course you can. You can do anything you really, really like. You might need to clearly put some study in and take some courses and start to get some experience in that area. But of course, you can transition to the thing that makes you happy if that's the thing that you want to do. And again, putting your mind to it, you know, if we put our minds to things, I'm sure we're capable of a great deal. Okay, some excellent responses. Crystal, working alone but sharing my ideas with different teams. Okay, again, pretty specific and interesting you put about the working alone. I really, really appreciate that because again, that is something that's going to come up. So let's get on with some of these exercises and then you'll see how all of this is going to pull together. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is look at a Venn diagram. This is why we need pen and paper. So it would be really good if you could draw a circle on your piece of paper and write to the side of it something you enjoy doing. You know, there are 3 key elements to a job that you're going to find fulfilling, and something that you enjoy doing, something that I'd really like to stress on, you enjoy doing this particular thing is going to be the first circle. Then secondly, we're going to be looking at something that you are good at. So you can see those 2 circles intersect. That's important to note as well. So something that you enjoy doing, thumbs up to that one. And then something that you're good at as well. You know, something that you're starting to get proficient at. You might have been doing it for a long time. It could be as a result of building a skill or knowing it's just one of your natural strengths, but something that you're good at as well. Those lines intersect. So perhaps you can see where we're going with this exercise now. When we go to the third circle, now, this is the commercial bit. This is the bit that we might need to think about selling. So something that people value. So at the moment then we're intersecting on our piece of paper. So have all of those 3 circles drawn, that we've got something that we enjoy doing, something that we're good at, and something that people value. And all that really means is, would someone pay me to do that? Because if they would, you know, maybe you've even got a hobby or something that you do externally to work at the moment that you really, really enjoy more than anything. Have a look to see if people would actually pay you to do that. You never know. There are so many jobs out there that we just didn't know we're out there until we find them. It's an odd thing. You think, blimey, people actually get paid to do that. But that could be one of the things that you do in your spare time. So when we've got those 3 circles on our piece of paper to form our Venn diagram, this is what we're going to be visualizing. So again, fill in some of those that we can see there as well. So you can see the intersections. Something that we enjoy doing, it could be just for fun, but if it intersects with something that we're good at, then maybe it's a skilled hobby, as I was mentioning before. Now, if it's something that people value, but you don't really enjoy doing it, then it still might not be for you because you're not going to get that satisfaction out of it. Now, if it's just something that might be a bit of a boring job, it might be something that you are good at, but it might not be something that you want to pursue for a long time. Again, this is where you can start to think about making some decisions about maybe moving into a different area. We had that comment before about moving from a particular field into digital marketing. So you might not feel that fulfilled at the moment. Absolutely great for you to be so honest to say that. It's then thinking about the steps that you need to take in order to move along to something that will satisfy you, something that will keep you happy on a daily basis. Now, there are lots and lots of ways to look at career fulfillment, but the theory that we're going to be looking at is a theory that's been inspired by something called the Ikigai method. And I'm sure that, oh, there we go. You beat me to it. So Alison's put a link in the chat for you. Have a look at that, the Ikigai method, about developing something that we enjoy doing, something we're good at, something that people value, bringing all of those pieces together and thinking, is that my new career direction? So thanks for sharing that link, Alison. So hopefully I've given you enough time just to jot down some of the wording that we've got on the screen, and that we've got our 3 circles for our Venn diagram, because we've got another exercise coming up in the moment that's going to challenge you and get you thinking about each of those different areas. Okay, now this is a little break in that. So at the moment, we've been asking you lots of questions. Here's another one. What for you is the top motivator for work? Now, I'm going to ask you to not include money in this. I know that we need to live, that we need to earn, we need to provide ourselves with food and water and shelter. But for the purposes of fulfillment and for the purposes of doing something perhaps long term, that continuous development, that improvement in ourselves, that being happy, then maybe money isn't one of the key factors. And you'll see from the empty blue box, when I press the next button, what is the top motivator at work? So tell me what your top motivator is at work. Crystal A, hello to you. Good afternoon. Self-development. Brilliant. Okay, that's a really worthy thing, I think. Because as I say, everyone needs to earn money. We all need to earn money. We're all doing things for money. But you have to, I believe that you have to kind of think on a broader, wider basis. And you have to ensure that you're getting some of that fulfillment that we've been talking about all the way through this module in order to make your days constructive and worthwhile. Now, any other answers? Let's have a look. Okay, so Georgia, thank you. If you sincerely love what you do, it makes you happy and fulfilled. Absolutely. If you sincerely love what you do, happy and fulfilled. That's a really, really fantastic answer. So let's look at what the top motivator at work has been shown to be. The recognition of work. Just someone saying to you, you did a really good job today. You've really improved something. You've really helped someone. A key thing for a lot of us, I think, is to help someone, helping people move along, identifying things that people perhaps don't see themselves, and helping them to understand that there are better things ahead, better times ahead. Recognition of work. You've done a good job. That spreadsheet you've just created there is fantastic. That diagram is fantastic. You've just explained the concept really, really clearly and really, really well to your colleagues. We love a bit of recognition at work. Curiosity evolved, getting the job done. So that's your top motivator, getting the job done, being set a task, following it through and completing. That's excellent. Love that answer, and welcome along, Curiosity Evolved. I'm sure I've seen you in a couple of other webinars as well in the recent past. Okay, so we've now identified our Venn diagram. We have now identified that the top motivator at work is recognition of work, the fact that we feel like we're being valued. Now, if there's any questions, Let's have them. Absolutely. Again, myself and Alison are here to try and help you in the best way we possibly can with this. You can see that this is quite a personal module, so we can pass over some of our own experience as well, some of the things that have kind of kept us happy over time, and some of the maybe tips that we can give that have helped us to get into jobs that we really enjoy too. You know, it works the same way for everybody when we've all got to start somewhere. So I can't see any questions at the moment. That's fine. We will have other pause for questions coming up in the session. So let's move into some more of the exercises, and let's pull some more information from ourselves and from each other. So again, remembering we're working on the Ikigai method here, we're going to uncover our career goals. We're going to start to identify our skill and strengths. So we're going to be starting with that first circle that we identified, which is something that we enjoy, something that we do find pleasure in. Oh, okay. I've just seen a question come in, so I'm just going to answer it very, very quickly from Georgia Giacconi. Hi, I recently graduated from uni in an international relations, but now I'm looking forward to the world of digital marketing. Do you think it's actually possible? Yes, I do. Absolutely. Why not? Why not? Again, you have to be careful with your time, with your planning, but why not? Why wouldn't that be possible? You know, digital marketing is a massively growing area. Everyone who's got a website, everyone who's got an online presence, in my opinion, needs to understand something about digital marketing. And there's a massive shortfall in skills and in job positions for digital marketing at the moment. So I would absolutely say that with the right study, with the right balance of time, then you could certainly use those two skills together. Finding a joy that maybe could cover both. Yes, of course. You know, I think for the things that we really, really enjoy doing, we manage to find time. I really, really do. Okay, so let's move along then. I hope that helped. But yeah, go for it, I think is the thing. Think big and actually go for it. Do some courses and see if it is still the thing that you want to pursue, and see if there are any overlaps between that and your other career. Now, and thank you to Alison. She just put in a great link to the fundamentals of digital marketing. Maybe that will help you as well. I can see a question from Palladia Thomas. What do you do when you have absolutely no idea what career you want to follow? You have to look. You have to be open to suggestions. You have to think about the things that will keep you happy, that will challenge you. Maybe look at existing skill sets, skills and strengths. That is something which will come up in the exercise that we're just about to do that you can see on screen. Maybe this next part of this module will help you to identify at least a kind of area for you to look into, Hiladia, whereby you can start to think about what jobs fall into that particular category. So pick out the words or phrases that describe things that you enjoy. So there's on the next page, there's 8 different words and phrases about things that we might enjoy. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write as many as you possibly can that you feel describe things that you enjoy. So we've got secure and stable work, we've got having ideas, helping others, working independently, work-life balance, being an expert, organizing people, or solving problems. So, and I'm going to ask Alison to get involved here as well. What are some of the ones that appeal to me? Okay, I do like helping others. I mean, it's one of the reasons I like to train. Hopefully you can sort of share some of your experience and become a trainer. So that's helping others. I do like having ideas, coming up with concepts and thinking, will that work? Let's test it out. Let's try it. I do like organizing people. I've got a fair old background in management, so people say I'm a bit bossy, fair enough. Maybe that's just the way I am, but I do enjoy working with others, seeing the best in people really, and helping them to find their own skills and strengths and really develop them. And solving problems is great. You know, be presented with a challenge, come to a solution and help other people to reach the same conclusion. So those are things that I enjoy. So again, for you, please do drop into the chat for me once you've made a note of them, which of those really, really do appeal to you. Now, what we're going to do next is we are going to rank them into our top 3. So you might have 3, you might have 5, you might have 7, you might have had all 8. Now we just need to do a bit of a refining exercise and think about what are our top 3. What top 3 areas there do we really like the most, that we would most value using on a day-to-day basis? So for mine, I'd probably put having helping others would be good. Always kind of top one or two. Organizing people, because again, I think it's a strength I've got, and then solving problems. So helping others, organizing people, solving problems. Again, maybe that's pretty typical for someone who enjoys management. You never know. So let's have some of yours. Okay, excellent stuff. So we've got lots of examples. So Alison enjoys helping others. She enjoys secure and stable work and work-life balance. Yeah, very, very important. And work-life balance is a massive one. Sai Naveen Bella, welcome along. Having ideas, secure and stable work, being an expert and solving problems. Excellent. Haladia, secure and stable work, helping others, work-life balance and being an expert. Brilliant. Okay, so Haladia, you're starting to narrow these down. That's great. Radia, having ideas, being an expert, work-life balance and secure work. So we can see some patterns coming up, some similarities. Crystal A, having ideas, working independently and helping others. So brilliant stuff. So yeah, try and get it down to 3 in your own mind of those that are the most important to you. But some absolutely brilliant examples there. They are really, really useful. Think about them. You have to be with these exercises that we're doing. If you can be as objective as you possibly can with yourself and about yourself, then you're starting to really feel the benefit of the module. Okay, so you tend to enjoy a lot of these things. This list is based on the work of Professor Edgar Schein, as Alison has put into the chat. Again, well-established ideas. These aren't just plucked out of thin air. These are well-established ideas. So know that you're now working in some very popular theories that have worked for so many people to help them identify perhaps their next career step. Curiosity evolved. We've got discipline, controlling emotions, and organize. Okay. Again, we need to just know what's important to us. That's really, really good. Now, what I'm going to do next is reveal the next page. So I hope you've had enough time just to rank them, get your top 3 and think, yeah, those things are really important to me. Now we're going to pick out the phrases that describe what you're doing now, what you've done previously. So this is a bit of a comparison exercise. Think about what you're doing now or what you've done previously. You've identified the 3 things that are most important to you. Does what you're doing now have those in it? This is where you can start to think, do I need to consider a new role? Am I in the right job? You might already have 3 matches. You might already be doing a role that you think, okay, so I chose helping others, organizing people and solving problems. And actually the role that I do now is helping me fulfill all of those things. So you might well be in a job that is right for you. If you want more promotions, maybe if you want to evolve in that type of role, then maybe you can do a similar role elsewhere. Or maybe you got no matches at all. Let us know how many matches you actually got. Did you get 1 match, 2 matches or 3 matches in terms of your ideal list, those 3 things, and what you're actually doing in your jobs now? Have a think about that. Let me know. Did you get 1 match, 2 matches or 3 matches? I would say, like in the role, if I was thinking about this exact job that I'm doing right now, helping others, I'm ticking that box, I hope. Secondly, organizing people, not really organizing people, so maybe that's still on 1, and solving problems. Well, I think we're all helping each other solve problems, and a lot of the training role is about helping people to solve problems. So I think I'm ticking 2 out of 3 boxes. That's not bad at all. So let's have a look at a couple of the comments that are coming in. Okay, so Crystal A, you've put, yes, an entrepreneur having ideas, working independently and helping others. It's interesting. There's a lot of working independently. Have you always felt that way? Or is it something that's happened perhaps since lockdown where you've got used to working more on your own? Societal trends also affect how we feel about work and the things that we do as well. Let's have a look. So Udunton Foloronso, good afternoon to you. Although getting stopped frustrates me a lot and could help me stop and focus on something else, does it mean that the job field challenge is not really for me? You have to evaluate what's going to make you happy and the thing that you want to do ongoing. And again, if it's going to help to make you some money, to help you to live, survive and develop all of the personal interests that you might have too. So it's a very interesting comment. Again, this module is very much based on some of the self-reflection. We got Nami Latte. Digital marketing is worth the time learning. Every business needs marketing. I would be inclined to agree with you there. Heladia, what I've done previously involves helping others and being an expert. Okay, so how's that matching up with your ideal list? Because maybe you're not far off where you need to be already, and this exercise can help you get there. So we're looking at the differences between the current list and your ideal list. Now, everyone's different. So none of the answers you're putting are right, none of the answers you're putting are wrong. It's all about you. It's all about what's important to you. It's all about what's individual to you. You know, a healthy workplace and thus a healthy us. There's lots of different types of people that can interact with you on that. You know, and we all, whether we like working in teams or we like working independently, we're probably going to have to come into contact with clients maybe or other people at some stage. So think about, again, how you can negotiate that, how that's going to work for you, and how you can deliberately seek things out that you have prioritized in that list that we saw previously with the 8 different examples. So this is something really good. This is why I was saying to you before, it's going to be quite useful to think about doing this exercise with someone else, because it will provoke discussion. If you can do it with a friend, you know, someone who knows you quite well, someone who's going to be honest with you, then you can start to pull information and ideas out of each other. And again, that's something we're going to be covering in the next section, where we've got some more really good exercises to help us really think about ourselves, our skills, and our strengths. So we're on our second pause for questions. I can't see any, I can see lots of comments, which is absolutely fantastic. I can't see any particular questions that I've not really looked at so far. So that's fine. That gives us more time to spend on the exercises that we've got coming up. So let's absolutely do that. So we've got curiosity evolved, discipline. That's interesting. That strikes me that you might be quite a disciplined person, and on that basis then that you need something which involves some absolutes in. So again, you have to derive what you can from the words that you use and how they would work in the workplace too. All right, brilliant stuff. So everyone, I cannot thank you enough for getting involved. Okay, curiosity, you've just put, I'm not, that's what I'm working on. Okay, so you need to get more discipline. Fine. Again, that's really honest. As long as you're being honest with yourself and being authentic about where you're at, what stage you're at, and the things you need to perhaps improve or develop, then again, you're on the right path and you're going to get there. So thank you. Thank you for just clarifying that for me. Right. So now we've covered something we enjoy. Now we're going to be looking at something that we're good at. And now we're going to complete some exercises based on what you're good at. So let's explore that now. Now, again, we have a particular model, a very well-known model that's going to help us to do this. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and I'm sure Alison will drop a link to the Dunning-Kruger effect in the chat for you to have a research in your own time and to understand it a bit more deeply. Now, the Dunning-Kruger effect is about how our own individual perception of our strengths can sometimes not perhaps be that realistic, or perhaps sometimes we're just not great at bigging ourselves up, at being really positive about ourselves, about selling ourselves. If you think about perhaps CVs and job applications, where we have to be able to tell people what we're really, really good at, that doesn't, you know, for a lot of people that can be quite uncomfortable. But it's really, really important, I think, for our own sanity and for our own ability to, you know, really develop ourselves and push ourselves in some ways, that we start to understand our own individual strengths. So let's have a look at this. You've got a graph on the screen there. As I've mentioned, the Dunning-Kruger effect is about how we're not particularly great at knowing our own strengths and weaknesses. So we might find something we enjoy doing. So the example you can see on the screen there is from karaoke, and some children who think perhaps that they are absolutely fantastic singers because they picked up a microphone. And you can see from the graph that ultimately their confidence absolutely rockets immediately, but that isn't necessarily backed up by their skill levels. So what that really means perhaps then is that, you know, we need to be realistic with ourselves, know it's something we enjoy, so that's good, but then know that it's something we might need to practice and really, really work on. it's always important, I think, to note that perhaps we're not experts in something immediately the first time that we do it. And if that's one of the things that puts you off from pursuing something, that again, to be kind to yourself, to be nice to yourself, and to allow yourself to develop at a good pace for you and your abilities. So when we move into the next screen, we can see that we've got a singer on screen there. We've learned a little more now about the singing. And then suddenly, because again, we're at a very limited experience level, we think we're fantastic. Perhaps it's because if we're learning to play the guitar, we've learned to do a chord change, or perhaps we've just learned to do something like a simple sum in a spreadsheet. And we think, I've got this absolutely sussed now. I can do it all. But then over time, and then as we see other things, and perhaps as we watch examples of other people doing a similar thing, we still realize that we've got a lot to learn. In reality, which again, you can see from the graph on the screen, we don't know enough yet to know how much more there is to learn. We're just getting started. We're just doing our research. We're just really opening our minds to the whole concept. So a few of you have mentioned about perhaps getting into digital marketing. Absolutely. That's fantastic. Perhaps you understand a few different concepts. There will be concepts that will become more confusing to you, or that you aren't yet aware of. So you have to take the good, the smooth with the rough at this point, and understand that although you've grasped a couple of points, there's still lots more to learn to give you a bigger picture of the entire topic. And that's absolutely fine. Our confidence is high, our competence is growing, but we're still on a curve. We've still got a long way to go. The way for me to perhaps qualify this a little bit is, when you think about bands like the Beatles, in my opinion, one of the best bands in the world ever, they played hundreds, thousands of hours practicing in small gigs in small places before they hit the big time, because they needed to practice, and it improved their art, it improved their craft. So for anything that we want to do, whether it's digital marketing, whether it's playing an instrument, whether it's learning how to run really effective spreadsheets, we're going to have to keep practicing, get things wrong, and then learn from our mistakes. Now, on this example, we can see that as we're getting better, our competence starts to go up. We might be getting good at something, and then we might not think we're that good at it. So again, something else that we need to bear in mind, we need to think about, are we being realistic with ourselves? Let's not, the same as we can overestimate our abilities, let's not underestimate our abilities as well. Sometimes when you're really good, you might think you're not that great too. This is where communication, talking to other people and getting other people's opinions is absolutely key, because then eventually, with all of that practice, with all of that realistic overview and understanding of ourselves, we can work and become an expert. Again, we had a couple of questions here this afternoon about, do you really think I can do that? Absolutely, but give yourself a chance to do it. Be kind to yourself along the way, and give yourself time and a bit of space to do it, to understand it, to give yourself a break, to do other things. Build these things into your life, and be realistic about timescales too. Sometimes things do take a bit longer than we'd hoped or we planned, but if the end result is something that's really, really strong, then perhaps that makes it absolutely worth going through some of that struggle, working through our confidence issues, understanding ourselves a bit better, so that we come out the other end a lot stronger. So when we truly understand our strengths, and this is what we're working towards now, this is the whole element about collaborating and working with other people who might have opinions about us, then we need to look outside of ourselves. So this is where we come up to another exercise. This is a really great exercise. This is the exercise, I think, where working with someone else, again, repeating the session, could be really, really useful. So we want you initially now to pick 3 people that you know well. That was a bit of a trip up there, because actually it's people who know you well. So pick up 3 people who know you well, not who you know well. Again, maybe if you're doing the exercise for each other, it's 3 people that you know well and that they know you well too. But for this right now, people who know you well. Think about 3 people who do that, and start to ask yourself these types of questions. Now, we want to identify our strengths from the perspective of somebody else. So for this exercise to work, let's run through the really important steps. I want you to imagine that you're speaking to one of these trusted people who knows you well. If you were to ask them what they thought about you, what would they say? So again, think about whether that's a colleague, a friend, a family member. If a family member can be honest, sometimes family members just think you're amazing and brilliant anyway. So that might not be that constructive. Great for the confidence, I'm sure. But if you're looking for constructive overviews, then maybe again it's a friend or a colleague or someone that you've spent a lot of time doing something with for perhaps. So if I, as an example for this, I'll talk about my friend Mark, who's I've known for, I don't know, 30 years maybe. Now, I trust him implicitly. And so therefore, if I do get any challenges come up in my life, I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to ask him some questions. Now, if I were to think about Mark and think about the things that he's come to me for over time, then I can answer the questions that are on the screen. So I always ask Glenn, so Mark's asking me for help with, and then that will be fixing my computer, because he does quite a lot. Things seem to go wrong with his PC, and I end up being the one that needs to fix it. So that means that Glenn knows a lot about technology, and I do enjoy technology. Always been a bit of a geek, always really, really enjoyed getting into the sort of background of technology, how things work, pulling things apart. And then you can always ask Glenn to explain how the technology works or how to fix the particular problem that's come up. So you can see how start to mold these questions and these statements and these phrases into how you would be talking to or with a friend. I always ask Alison for help with spreadsheets because she's really good at spreadsheets. Alison knows a lot about formulas and putting together good tabs. You can always ask Alison to help explain how a spreadsheet works and how to pull formulas through from one page to the next. So start to position yourself and your friends in that way, and you'll start to see the benefit of this. Now, if you want some examples, because again, this can be in some cases a fairly difficult thing to do initially, then we've given some examples underneath. So I always ask Glenn for help with, is it sharing knowledge? Is it investigating? Is it making things? Is it planning? Is it being creative? So if you're unsure, again, this is what makes, I think, this a particularly good exercise for doing with other people as well. Then if you were to take a note of this screen, if you were to take a screenshot of this screen, take a photo of it, you've got some examples there, again, that could start to really work and help to fuel your conversation with one of your friends or someone that knows you well. Those three people, it's good to have three people. And the reason we're suggesting three people is because it gives you some varied opinions. There may well be things that people come to you for and on an advice basis that you just take for granted, that you don't even really notice that they come to you for now. So that's why talking to other people, what is it you ask me? And they'll say, well, I ask you loads and loads of times about friendship advice, or do you think that someone's being a bit unfair with me, or how to learn a particular skill or strength. I taught you how to ride a bike, and now you're really, really skilled at riding a bike and going on long bike rides. Whatever the things that you've interacted with this person on could be things that you just take for granted, that could be a skill or a strength that you then can take forward and might potentially earn you some money in the future if it becomes your niche, if it becomes your thing. So Glenn knows a lot about, does he know a lot about competing? I'm quite competitive. Does he know a lot about socializing or using data or writing? You can always ask Glenn to take risks or meet new people or motivate others, or perhaps in my case, or based on my career history, to manage other people. So you can start to see how all of these questions can start to give you some real areas to probe about yourself. What is it about me? What is it that people like about me? What is it that people find helpful about me? What is it that people find useful? Okay, let's have a look at some of the comments that have come in. Having deep conversations, having new ideas, and taking risks. Crystal, brilliant examples there. Okay, so having deep conversations. So none of that small talk. Let's get to the real crux of the matter. So again, maybe there's some sort of counselling or a role that involves some type of life coaching could be good for you there. Having new ideas, so coming up with solutions that people might not be thinking of. You're thinking out of the box. Brilliant stuff. Taking risks. Again, life does involve taking risks. Be careful with the risks that you take. Try and make them as calculated as you can. But we do, on occasion, need to push ourselves and think, this could change my life. Shall I really, really go for it? So thank you, Crystal. That's a really, really great example. Now, let's have a look at a couple of the questions that have come up. We're just on our second pause for questions now. So let's have a look through what we got. So Heladia, as a student with no professional experience, how do I start making the steps towards building a career? Okay, great question, comes up a lot. You have to think about the hobbies that you do. Think about any volunteering roles that you've taken, any work experience that you've been looking at. And if you're not doing any of those things, are they things that you can do? Are they things that you can fit into your schedule? What it really comes to is if you're going to apply for a job in a particularly new area, you have to really be able to show the prospective employer that you're making steps to be really, really good. You know, that whole thing about building your confidence and becoming competent in something. So you have to be able to show that you're taking steps to become competent in that particular skill set. So that might mean, you know, a longer day. It might mean a bit of volunteering. It might mean getting an internship. It might mean perhaps talking to someone who knows someone who does it. Can you sit with them for a while? Can you get some tutoring? Enroll in courses. Do all of the positive things that are going to help you to show a prospective employer, I'm making real steps towards this. And again, with your support and perhaps with some of your input, I'm already fairly proficient, but I'm going to be getting better and better as time goes on. So I think that's really, really important. So, okay, Crystal, how do you get through the confidence dip and how do you enjoy the process on the way to becoming an expert? Know that you're on a process that's going to help you become an expert. It can be hard. It can be tricky. It can be, really challenging. It can make you tired at times, but there is that phrase, no pain, no gain, I suppose. It's about pushing ourselves. Getting yourself out of your comfort zone is often the way that we achieve. If we're doing things that are well within our comfort zone, we don't really feel any pressure to do any more in quite a lot of occasions. So however you deal with pressure, however you feel that you can best push yourself, try and do that. Try and just push yourself out of your comfort zone, even if it's once a week or once a day, whatever you feel you're comfortable with, something that you can evaluate later. How did that go? Measure your improvements, measure your development. Am I going in the right direction? Did I really, really not like that at all? Or did I quite enjoy pushing myself? Ask yourself the probing questions too. So I hope that helps. Should I push through or find another career if you still feel unfilled, even though you have been receiving recognition? Well, again, there's no should. Should's a big word, but you should definitely push through and find the things that make you happy and to develop any skills and strengths that you feel that you have that are going to make you happy ongoing, that are going to push you and your capabilities and help you really. I think, again, it's that word development, that continual development, keeping yourself happy and always having that underlying question, am I fulfilled in what I do? I can't answer what people should or shouldn't be doing, but I can certainly hopefully inspire people in some ways to push themselves as best as they possibly can. And again, some of us may never push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Some of us will feel very happy to push yourself out of your comfort zone every now and again, and only you can really decide that. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to move into the final section of the webinar now. We've got a little bit of time just to look at that crucial third element to there's something that we enjoy doing, there's something that we're good at, but now we need to ensure that we're working towards it being something that people value. So that's something that we can sell. That's something that we can sell on. That's something that essentially someone somewhere is going to be happy to pay for. And we've actually got a couple of examples, some case studies here, which will hopefully demonstrate how this can happen, how this has happened. And these are real examples. So Abigail's story. So Abby worked in technology at a large entertainment business, but she changed her career to focus on baking cakes. So she's gone from tech to baking cakes. Why is that? because she worked in an entertainment business and she used to make cakes. She loved making cakes in her spare time. So again, think about those skilled hobbies that you have. And she used to take them in to her colleagues. They were so good, the cakes, that she decided to start her own business, which she called Abby's Pantry. That started in London and has now moved to Edinburgh. So Abigail's story is a classic one of knowing that you enjoy doing something, finding that you're really getting good at it because she got some great feedback. Everyone was essentially saying to her, we love your cakes and can you make us some more? And then her mind thought, well, okay, maybe I can actually make some money out of this. So she's turned this baking cakes from a skilled hobby into something to make a living out of. Now, we were talking about marketing. We've talked about digital marketing earlier on. One of the key things that Abby needed to do to help to make herself successful, she had the skills to make the cakes, was to market herself online. So she did actually come into the Google Digital Garage. She has taken some courses. She's understood how to start a business. She's looked at how to market her business and provide those constructive messages. Now, again, if this is something you want to do, we have a number of different webinars to help you to do that on the Google Digital Garage site, which is g.co/digital garage. So think about that. Think about the whole package. I've got a new skill. I need to market it. There are no-cost training solutions to help me to do that. Now, the next example that we're going to show you is Claire and Rachel. So Claire and Rachel were friends. They joined up forces to set up the website How Do I Do? A directory of wedding suppliers and wedding planners for all couples. They found a gap in the market. They found a way to be really, really accommodating and to make everyone, no matter their persuasion, to feel comfortable in terms of getting married. Everyone's the same, everyone's equal, which I'm sure we all agree with, so everyone should have the same chances, the same opportunities. They captured that niche and helped anybody who wanted to get married to get married. Now, Claire was a barrister, so she worked in law, and Rachel was a sonographer. So she did ultrasound scans in the hospital. They went to a Start Your Own Business course, again, similar to the previous example, and they both attended some one-to-one sessions. That helps them to develop their digital knowledge, their digital know-how. That helps them to really focus their attentions. You can see that photo, that's a genuine photo from a Google Digital Garage. And after a while, they set up their directory and they started to get some clients. Again, that didn't happen overnight for them. They had to do a lot of studying. They had to really, really change their entire focus. And they really, really needed to kind of understand and know exactly what it was they wanted to offer. So when they pulled all of those elements together, they came up with this business. And now that is their business. They're no longer a barrister. They're no longer a sonographer. Okay, now Shaquille was working HR and was made redundant. So rather than going to work for another company, he decided to go freelance, to become self-employed and to work for himself. So he started up a hashtag, which was Catch Up Over Coffee, and now has grown his connections on LinkedIn. So again, a good vital networking tool, and his business has started to bloom. Now, this means that he's doing the thing that he loves, which is working with people, solving people problems within the workplace, doing it in his own time and doing it in a way that he would like to show to others as being a really constructive, a really helpful, and a really dynamic way to do that. So again, massive career changes, gone from employed to self-employed. So we can all make that transition if we're key and clear on understanding what our skills are, what our strengths are, and what we can do with them. So who would value what you're good at and enjoy? So think about perhaps some of the things that you've picked up this afternoon, some of the phrases that we've had. Which job or profession likes those three things that you pulled out of the bag? We had, from some people sharing knowledge or motivating others or work-life balance, having new ideas, helping people, solving problems, all of those things. Start to then think what jobs or professions or which businesses would like those types of qualities, working with people or being a good listener, being a good conversationalist, helping people get underneath their problems. Maybe you are a coach or a counselor, for example. Be creative with yourself and your understanding of the skills that you've pulled out. And again, think about, is that something that will potentially make me really, really happy and fulfilled in the future, like the original exercise? Now, a few of the questions that have come up today have been around, if I've not got a great deal of experience, how do I do this? There may be some ways that you can gain some of that experience. So you can explore your career options online using online search. If you go to Google search and you type in particular jobs, you're going to get something like the example you can see on the screen there. And again, there could be a niche or something which really fits the needs that you have. Search engines are brilliant for finding jobs. You can filter them by availability, by location, by the company type, by the employer. If you want to go for particular businesses, there are lots of ways for you to narrow down that search. But more than that, there are other ways to get that experience, as we mentioned. So again, depending on what country you're actually viewing this from today, there may be sites like Charity Job, whereby you might be able to get some experience working in a particular field that you've never worked in before. A valuable experience to put on your CV and to show to prospective employers. Yeah, I was working within the charity sector, volunteering for a role, even if it's a couple of hours a week. I gained all of these areas of experience that you can then talk about in an interview. The same with Do It as well. You know, Do It is a fantastic site to connect with volunteer opportunities. You can get internships. You might be able to help out a little business with some digital marketing, for example, give them some ideas, learn the main concepts, look at their online presence, do analysis of their online presence. There are many, many ways for you to show your experience. The other one link that you've got on the screen there is for LinkedIn. If you haven't got a LinkedIn profile, please get one. It's really, really useful for building professional networks. It's really, really helpful for researching particular types of employers that you're interested in too. It also shows you employees that work for those particular employers. So again, maybe you can start to within your profile, start conversations, tag people in, and start to show your interest or experience or even expertise in some of these key areas. Start conversations. You can comment on other people's posts. You can get yourself to be seen to be one of those industry thought leaders, one of those industry experts. You can become aware of new trends in particular industries that you might be interested in, and it shows that you're connected. It shows that you have a real passion for the industry that you're trying to get into or that you're working within. And again, all of these things reflect and look good to prospective employers. You know, so think about those volunteering opportunities. Think about, again, perhaps doing something that may take up a little bit of your time, that might eat into your time a little bit, but ultimately, once you've made that effort, can reap the dividends of a new job, a new career, or a completely new type of direction. All right, so we're nothing if we don't have goals, I think. So let's set some goals. I'd love, again, we've got a couple of minutes left, pop some of these into the chat for me. Based on what you've seen today, what are you going to do next? Today, I'm going to, again, do this exercise again, rewatch this webinar, do the exercises on what things are important to me. Next week, I'm going to work on applying for a couple of jobs that I'm interested in, or approach a couple of volunteering online opportunities to help me develop the skills that I've just noticed that I need. This month, I might have, or I will have applied to 2 different roles based on the new sector that I'm looking towards, or this month I will have researched, or this month I will have started a new course. This year, I will have completed 2 digital marketing courses, or 2 courses in the area that I'm really looking to get into, so that by the end of the year, you can measure your progress. You know, was it harder than you thought? Do you need to make your expectations a bit more realistic? You can set yourself goals. It's always good when you set yourself goals to work towards them, to evaluate them, to not give yourself a hard time if you haven't got there, because life happens and life can be really, really busy. But set yourself some goals. So think about what goals you would like to achieve today, next week, this month, and this year. Again, if you can, just pop a couple of those in the chat. But if you need to reflect more on this module and the exercises that it's had, absolutely understand that as well. So just make a note of that screen and set yourself those goals. Push yourself, challenge yourself. So we come up to the last pause for questions. I'm just going to have a quick look just to see if anything's come in. I can't see any new questions. Okay, so we've actually had a next week input from Alison. Next week, she's going to improve her LinkedIn profile. Okay, good. Yeah, me too. I reevaluate my LinkedIn profile fairly often. Anything new that I do, I update it and put it in to make sure my experience is current. And Crystal A, how do you enjoy the process on the way to becoming an expert? How do you enjoy it? Well, I think either you do or you don't enjoy it. As I say, the challenge is pushing yourself. If you embrace and understand what you want to achieve at the end of your goals, every step you take will hopefully give you some enjoyment. Every step you take will help you realize that even though it might be tough, it might be difficult, that you're getting somewhere, that you're doing things that you perhaps never even thought you consider doing. It's all about identifying the positives. It's all about us breaking out of any of those kind of mental processes that make us think it's not worth it, because all effort has got to be worth it if we're getting somewhere and we're achieving a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just about out of time. So we've covered the next steps. I think, maybe think about going on our CV and cover letter session, which you can find at g.co/digital garage. Again, that will help you to formulate your CV to apply for those roles. And then think about whether you'd like to engage with our career certificates. That's at goo.gle/careercert UK. So that leaves me just to say thank you very much indeed. I've really enjoyed speaking with you this afternoon, and you really have been fantastic in terms of your offerings, the things that you've put into the chat. So keep an eye on all of those things. Haladia, I'm going to sit and research the most important skills related to the career I want to build. Fantastic. Look at job descriptions, look at the companies, look at what they're asking for. Brilliant input. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best of luck, Haladia. Now, join us again for more Google Digital Garage sessions. Again, go on to g.co/digital garage and sign up for as many of those sessions as you'd like. Leave us your feedback today, which Alison will post the link in the chat for you. That is goo.gle/digital garage feedback. And hopefully I'll see you again soon on another Google Digital Garage webinar. But have a great afternoon and a great evening, and really good luck in all of your future pursuits. Thank you. Goodbye.